to wear a mask, right? All right.
Something like that,
okay.
yeah.
All right, good. We got plenty. Everybody ready?
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody ready?
Ready.
Good morning. I'm Commander Ron Borza, Houston Police Department, Major Offenders Division. Last evening, I believe it was around 8 p.m., Westside Patrol got a call about a Bengal tiger in the front yard of a house at, what street are we on here? Ivy Wall Drive. I believe a next door app notice went out, and an off-duty deputy came to the house and confronted the owner of the tiger. There was a brief confrontation about the tiger being out in public, which is against city ordinance to have a tiger here in the city of Houston. The owner of the tiger took the tiger back in to the residence. When HPD showed up, the owner put the tiger in a white SUV and drove off from the scene. There was a brief pursuit, and the man got away with the tiger. We are actively looking for him today. He's out on bond for another incident that happened back in November in Fort Bend County, and we don't have any charges on him yet, any hard charges. We're working on that now for the evading, and once we get that, we'll be able to release his name, but I don't want to release any names until we get hard charges on the suspect.
What was he charged with back in Fort Bend?
Murder.
Wow. Was he living in this house?
He was leasing this house.
He was leasing this house?
Yes, sir.
Do we know of any other animals in the house?
We don't. The house is empty now. We have reports that he does have monkeys. Monkeys are not illegal to have in the city of Houston if they're under 30 pounds. We believe he has 2 of those. I don't know if he took them. His girlfriend was in the residence with him. She may have them. We don't know at this time. We haven't located either one yet.
Are you expecting evading charges today?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So, and this individual, I guess, when he was indicted in 2017 for that, did he have animals then? I mean, is this like completely separate from that?
I believe it's completely separate. The case I was speaking of, Fort Bend County, was November of 2020, so it's pretty recent. He's out on bond for that currently.
He was charged in November. Did he bond out immediately?
I believe he did, and I believe it was $250,000 on that homicide.
And when did he move in here?
I don't know. I haven't looked into all that. I have investigators inside the house right now talking to the homeowner, and we're getting all that right now. My main concern right now is focusing on finding him and finding the tiger, because what I don't want him to do is harm the tiger. We have plenty of places we can take that tiger and keep it safe and give it a home for the rest of his life. A lot of times people get desperate and they do silly things. I just want to get him in custody for the evading, which we'll charge here in the next couple hours, and get the tiger to a safe place.
Has anyone made an attempt to call him?
That I don't know yet. We're still working on all that.
How do you know it's a Bengal tiger?
Just from the pictures that they posted on Instagram last night. Have you seen the pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I know it is.
So can you talk to us about how, I mean, this is not the first time we've seen a tiger in someone's house here in Houston, and how generally, I think it's not illegal to have a tiger in Texas, but you can't have one in the city of Houston.
It's a city ordinance that you can't have a tiger or any large animal, bear, anything like that. 2017, I believe we had another case where we found a tiger in a vacant house in a garage. And that tiger's safe in the sanctuary outside of Dallas now. That one worked out well, and hopefully the same will work out on this situation also.
You mentioned a girlfriend. Have you talked to the girlfriend?
We have not. We have not talked to her yet. The investigation is still very preliminary. We're just putting everything together. We're trying to find the girlfriend, trying to find friends, parents that will give us some more information about where we may be able to find him.
Is this individual Hispanic, white?
I believe he's Hispanic.
Hispanic.
Yeah.
Any tips on sightings of this SUV and the tiger, and do you have a license plate? That people can
It's a white Jeep Cherokee, has a paper plate, and that's all I have on right now. And obviously, if you see a Cherokee with a big tiger in it, be good to call us.
So I talked to the owner. I guess this guy was renting. Is the owner facing any consequences?
I don't believe so. I don't think he knew that Bengal tiger was residing in his home. I think if he did, he would let us know. Just like the neighbors here. As soon as they saw that tiger on the front yard, they started calling the police. That's what they're supposed to do, because I'm sure he raised it since it was a cub, is my assumption. But you can't have big animals because they're unpredictable.
And what are the consequences for violating the city ordinance?
It's a Class C misdemeanor to have that tiger. That's all.
Do you know if he had any kind of handler's license? Or
No, I don't, as far as I know, with my animal cruelty unit that I have in Major Offenders Division, I don't believe there is such a license. I would have to investigate that, but it doesn't matter. You cannot have a tiger in the city of Houston. So right there's a violation. So,
Any idea when and where he got the tiger?
no, not at all. We are still looking at that. It may be tied to the one we found in 2019, or was it 2017? I can't remember the exact date. But this is a small circle of folks that deal in exotic animals. It's not a big ring. Most of them know each other from my experience with my animal abuse crowd. So
How do you feel about people who continue to breed and sell tigers, bears, whatever to private citizens?
it's just not a good idea. You never know when that animal's going to turn on. Yeah, they're pretty to look at, and they're very expensive to have them. And if that tiger was to get out and start doing some damage yesterday, I'm sure one of these citizens would have shot the tiger. We had plenty of neighbors out here with guns, and we don't want to see that. It's not the animal's fault. It's the breeder's fault. It's unacceptable. It shouldn't be happening at all.
I
Yes,
think the
ma'am.
neighbors
Where
also-
is this tiger going to end up once he's gone?
We have the last one we took, I believe there's a sanctuary outside of Dallas, Texas, is where that one ended up, and he'll be there for the rest of his life.
Okay, and then who did this guy murder?
Don't know. Haven't looked into any of that. My main concern right now is finding him and the tiger, getting the charge for evading arrest, which will revoke his bond. Once we get all that situated, then we'll start really looking into other things. I've got a lot going on right now with him, just trying to get him in custody.
Is there anything more on the tiger breeders that you mentioned, or will they face any consequences?
We're going to look into everything. We're going to try to find out, once we talk to him, and eventually we'll get a hold of him, we'll see if he'll let us know at least where he got the tigers, who he's associated with these animals. We had some bear cubs last year that we were looking for. Unfortunately, we never found them. So there are a few exotic animals in the city of Houston that we would like to find.
How common are these types of calls, these kind of violations?
They're very rare, maybe one or two a year. We get calls and then it turns out it's not true, but for them to actually be happening, it's very rare in the city of Houston. Good? All right, thank you all, appreciate it.
Can you start Borsa, right?
Yes, Borza, B-O-R-Z-A.
And just really quickly, what's next for you? Where do you go from here? What are the next steps?
Finding him and getting all the information we can for him, and then we'll go from there and see what kind of charges we're going to be able to get filed on him.
What are you looking for here at the house?
Just evidence of where the cat was, and there's evidence that a big animal was living there.
What
So-
part of the house is he living in?
He had a little enclosure in the back. I believe he jumped that fence is how he got out. So
Was the enclosure inside or outside?
he was inside. He was sleeping inside, but he had a little enclosure outside he could hang out at.
Was it the enclosure